peoples? So, welcome to another episode of the Michelle Files. Funny story, I was like, hey, I'm gonna make a video today. And I ran my errands this morning, went and had some time with Jesus, and so I come home. As soon as I get home, it's like torrential downpour, thunderstorm, like hardcore, power goes out. So I recorded my first take of today's video in my kitchen table. And as soon as I started it, the power came back on. So here we are in my little cozy space, right? So anyhow, when you're trying to do something, you gotta get it done, right? I mean, some people might call it stubborn. To me, it's just perseverance, right? Perspective is everything. So, what I want to talk to you about today is something that's been a recurring theme for the last few months in my life. As always, there are lots of changes happening in my life. Cliff Notes version, real quick. For those of you that know, I have been teaching accounting for full-time for the last 2 years. And, well, I guess almost 2 years. Anyhow, I came to the realization that it's not right for me. And so this is my last fall teaching. And disclaimer, like a couple disclaimers here. That decision was made prior to COVID hitting. So we'll start with that. Secondly, the other thing about it is I love Shepherd. Shepherd's amazing. Like, I love the people that work there. I love my students. Like, I love all of it. And I really thought that my entire rest of my life was going to be me teaching accounting and writing books. And turns out sometimes the things you think that you really want aren't what's right for you. And it was meant to just be for a little while and not for the rest of my life. And that's okay. So, anyhow, because of that, there are some other changes that are happening. And this kind of ties into the fact that I feel like God's been really teaching me a lesson in mercy. About 4 years ago, I would say I had a prayer. And my prayer was, I asked God to teach me how to love. If you know anything about me, if you've ever been to my home, if you look around me here, love all over the place, right? It is like all through my house, love is everywhere. And I mean, come on, even my license plate is about love. So anyhow, so be careful when you ask God for something because he's always listening. And he was totally listening to me, and he is really working out some serious things there with teaching me how to love. I've seen it happen in my relationships with my family, with my friends, in romantic relationships, and it's been a very challenging and yet rewarding type of lesson that I'm sure I'll be learning for the rest of my life, but thank you, Jesus, for that. So, mercy. Back in April, I was thinking about, what am I going to do next? Where am I going? I was thinking about going into counseling or life coaching. I really I've got a lot of big dreams, like all kinds of dreams about helping people. And so I was trying to figure out what I needed to do next to be able to do those things, right? So I ended up actually rather quickly in a counseling program with a school called Divine Mercy University, based out of Sterling. And this summer I finished my first course with my cohort, and they are freaking amazing. I love them. And so while I'm not sure that being a licensed counselor is my end game here, I do know that my education in counseling is already helped me personally and is definitely going to be something that I need for the places that I feel God is calling me to go. So there's the first part where mercy popped up in life, Divine Mercy University. Around this time, that, I was home from COVID trying to get through the end of the semester. I also learned about the Divine Mercy prayer, which is a Catholic prayer. I'm still learning all the Catholic things, right? I'm still a Catholic newbie. So anyhow, it gave me a lot of comfort, and it was something that has continued to just kind of show up and show out in my life as I've been praying that prayer. So fast forward to this morning. So I'm on the cusp of going back to Shepherd for my final semester of teaching, back to Divine Mercy University taking counseling classes at the same time. I am trying to squeeze out that last little bit of my summer break, and it just hit me this morning that God's really, really been trying to teach me all kinds of lessons about mercy. Mercy for myself, which is a huge one. Mercy for others that have hurt me. And mercy for people who have not yet hurt me. So, it might kind of sound strange, but, come on. Follow me down the rabbit hole, right? So, mercy. So I believe this ties into the whole thing of God teaching me how to love. So last week, or I guess this week, I don't know, the weeks run together, it doesn't really matter, but recently, let's go with that word, recently I was faced with something that I didn't know was a problem. So while, I feel like probably one of the most profound and painful things that happened in my life very suddenly, obviously, was the loss of Chris. And losing my husband, I feel like I have really, really worked through a lot of that. Don't get me wrong, I don't think grief ever leaves you. But I feel solid with that, with getting through that experience, with moving forward with my life, right? Well, here's the thing. That wasn't the only painful thing that ever happened in my life. And there are wounds that I have that I didn't know were there until something happened. So, have you ever wanted to do something kind for someone? Like, just really kind and caring and thoughtful? Have you ever wanted to do that? So once you thought about whatever that thing was, did you do it? I almost didn't. So why? So I had this idea. There was something I wanted to do for somebody that I cared about, and I thought, yeah, this is a great idea. And then 2 seconds later, I was like, what am I doing? Yeah, pretty much like that. You can ask the roommate, he'll vouch for it. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, oh crap, I can't do this. This is, why? Why did I freak out about doing something nice for someone? I don't know. Why don't you tell me? Hasn't there ever been times in your life where you really wanted to do something for someone, but you didn't do it? So what kept you from doing it? Was it you were afraid to look silly? Were you afraid that they would mistake your kindness for the wrong kind of message? Were you afraid they would reject your kindness? For me, that's what it was. I didn't realize that in my life, I have done things for other people, and not with the motive of getting a pat on the back, right? I mean, that's not what I'm saying here. But what I'm saying is I've done really kind things for people. And whenever I do something, I put my whole self into it. It's who I am and how I'm made. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it as right as I can possibly do it. So, in the past, I have done really nice things, gestures, gifts for people I really care about. But those gifts were rejected. And not only were some of them rejected, but insults came with them. It was pretty tough. And I personally didn't realize that that was a wound I had until I started freaking out recently when I was about to do something nice for someone. So, this is what happened. I thought, I'm going to do this for this person. And so I start, gathering up the things I need to do, getting things prepared, and then as the day ticked on, my freak out went up. So I was like, what if what ifs, they're so dangerous, right? What if I do this for this person and they reject me? Am I ready for that? Am I ready for that? Well, then Jesus was working on me because he's like, Michelle. I mean, he didn't really say this, but he might as well have. Michelle, what you doing, girl? Like, come on. This is not what love's about, and you know it. And I was like, dang it, Jesus. Why you always got to get me? So I was emotionally spinning. So I went through my usual coping mechanisms about, you need to chill out. Why are you being crazy about this, right? Like, you need to pump the brakes, breathe. Everything's going to be fine. So I did what I do when I freak out. Believe it or not, I do freak out. It happens. Not everybody sees it. And actually, probably about 70% of my freak out is an internal freak out because that's how I'm made. I am an introvert, y'all. I really am. So anyhow, I'm like, okay, I need to pray about this. So I pray. And I kind of sit with it. Roommate's like, you are still not okay. And I was like, nope, I am still not okay. And we talk about some things. And then I was like, you know what? I think that I'm just going to distract myself with a good message from Father Mike. If y'all don't know who Father Mike is, he is amazing and I love him. And he is like the best. I just love him. Anyhow, I had a homily that was posted on Sunday that I didn't hear yet. So I'm like, let's hear what Father Mike's got to say. Well, there was totally a reason that I didn't listen to that message on Sunday. So I'm sitting there and Father Mike starts and I was like, oh, son of a biscuit. Here we go, y'all. It was a message about mercy, essentially, and about how he was talking about Jesus and how Jesus had just found out about John the Baptist dying and he was mourning and he sees the crowds on the side of the hill or wherever they were. I'm not quoting direct scripture here, y'all. Just follow me. And he sees the crowds and he takes pity on them. And even though he was in pain and mourning, he took pity on them and he healed them and he spoke with them. And then he fed them because then it followed with the loaves and fishes, where they took the couple fish and a few loaves of bread and fed like thousands of people, right? So, and I was listening to that and I was like, oh. And it was like Jesus had mercy on them. And he he fed the people. And I was like, oh, dang. I don't want to do this right now. Like, you're totally convicting me. Like, oh. And so I realized that, first of all, I need to check my intention for why I wanted to give this gift in the first place. What's my intention here? And my intention was to show up somebody that I cared about them and that I wanted them to know that I cared about them. Nothing wrong with that, right? So I had put all these conditions in place prior to that. I was like, well, if X, Y, and Z doesn't happen, then I'm not going to do this. And I even the words came out, it was like, Michelle, you know better. You know better. Like, that is not what being a Christian's about. That is not what loving like Jesus is about. And you know it. And then Jesus really put me in my place. Thank you, Jesus. So, anyhow, I hear this message, right? And I'm like, okay, I need to do this, right? it didn't stop the fact that I was still freaking out. Emotionally, I was still spinning. And so I went, I'm coping through this, right? Like I'm praying, I'm trying to get my center, because I was so off center. And as I'm sitting at the bar in my kitchen praying, I just keep hearing mercy. Like mercy is just in my spirit. I was like, mercy. Mercy is about how we love people, right? Like God gives us his mercy and his forgiveness and his love, not because we're deserving of it, but because of who he is, not who I am. That's mercy, right? So if I want to show someone I care about them, it's not about what they've done for me or what they can do for me. It's about what I can do for them, regardless of what they've done for me, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm still freaking out. I'm like, mercy. Michelle, this is mercy in action. And this is how you need to view this, because this is how you're going to get your center. So as I continued getting everything ready for what I was going to do for this person, I was like, wow. So, I want to show this person I care about them. I want to do something kind. But what if they reject me? And then I remembered there is another passage in the Bible, and it talks about when the disciples went out to different towns, that you come to the town with the message, and if no one receives your message with peace, no one takes you in, then you shake the dust off your sandals and you roll on. And whatever peace you have given, love you have given, if it is not received, will come back to you as you move forward. And I thought, okay, I do believe that. There have been situations where I have been rejected for things, and the love has still come back to me, and the peace has stayed. So I know that, right? Know that up here. This thing right here, this sticker was just woo crazy. So I was like, all right. So there's that. Mercy, doing what's right, even if it doesn't feel good in the moment. So then there was another thing that happened with this, and it was, Michelle, this is a wound you have. So sometimes we have these wounds that are so deep, and the poison is so deep within those wounds that we don't even know they're there until the poison rises up, or until we re-injure ourselves, right? We hit that wound, and the pain of that poison comes out. So for me, I was thankful for this crazy feeling, because it pointed out to me things in my life that I have not dealt with. A wound that I did not realize was as deep and as significant as it was, that I needed to do something with. So there I was, right? Dealing with this wound that I didn't even know I had. And the thing is, I keep asking God to heal me and grow me and make me who I am meant to be. But he doesn't just do that. It's not just him. Because God loves us, he is fully capable of waving his hand and healing us and just fixing whatever needs fixed in us, right? But when we work together, it's more worthwhile for both of us. Think about it. Like if you work on a project with someone, like if you're helping someone, it's more empowering, and it's just more awesome when you're working with someone and you're helping them and you're teaching them and you're walking alongside them in whatever task it is that they need help with, right? It's more rewarding for the both of you, because if you're the only one doing it, then you're the one that's getting all the glory, right? And you're the one that's getting all of the, you did all of this, and you're not really imparting the richness that comes with that success on that other person, right? Because if you do it all for them, you haven't built any relationship, you haven't shared anything. So I truly believe that all of this has way more reasons behind it other than just the little tiny scope that I see. However, the event that happened triggered the wound in me to help God help me heal from that. And am I healed from that yet? I don't really know. I won't know until something happens again. But the point is, I didn't know that there was a problem there until it was pointed out to me. So, this isn't the first time this happened this summer. Also, just like I have this emotional wound, my body is jacked up. So, this summer, I'm planting a rose bush and it hurt my back and it aggravated my sciatica that I irritated back in February for the first time, trying to be, a super strong girl. And come to find out, it was getting worse and it was getting worse. It wasn't getting any better. So this is like June. So go to the chiropractor. Come to find out, we did x-rays. My neck is messed up. My back is messed up. In all these places, right? I had no idea that I had these significant issues happening in my body until something aggravated it. And that's exactly what happened with my emotional wound. I had no idea that wound was really there, that it was unresolved, that it was unhealed, until something aggravated it. This is the great thing about healing. Once you know what the wound is, you can work towards healing it. So, here I am, middle of August. Is it mid-August? Beginning of August? Whatever. After a month of being at the chiropractor, I can walk again. Still not myself, but I'm definitely much closer than I was when I didn't know I had a problem. Weirdly enough, like I wasn't tall enough before, I've grown an inch because now my back is like properly aligned again. So there's that. And now, so that's happening in my physical body. And then in my emotional wound, it's starting to heal because I know it's there. And that's really great. So, it didn't feel really great the other day. I'm not going to lie, y'all. It was not really great the other day. And so what happened? What happened with the thing that really freaked me out? I finished getting my stuff together and presented my act of kindness for that person. And it was well received. With much more gratitude and appreciation than I really ever could have expected. And not only did I get that opportunity to show somebody that I cared about them, I got the opportunity to work on my own personal healing in the process. Isn't Jesus crazy like that? I mean, I think so. That's how I feel. Like, it is truly how I feel about that. And I am so thankful. But the thing is, if I would not have extended mercy to myself for the things that had happened in the past that caused this wound, if I had not extended mercy to the people who really gave me that wound, whether intentional or not, and if I hadn't extended mercy to the person who had nothing to do with that wound in the first place, I would be no better off than I was before. But now, I've learned something about myself. I've grown this week. And I've felt love. And I've given love and care and kindness. And it's kind of crazy, right? Because that gift, whenever you help others, extend mercy, love, care, I mean, love is more than just, kisses and roses and all of, the hearts and flowers stuff. It is so much more than that. Love is doing the hard things for people that we care about. And sometimes it's really, really hard to love certain people. And I'm sure every single one of us, myself included, have been a very difficult person to love at some point in our life. But that doesn't mean we didn't need love. It didn't mean we didn't desire it. But if it wasn't for mercy, we wouldn't get that at all. So, next time you want to do something really kind for someone, maybe it's a stranger, maybe it is someone who's hurt you in the past, maybe it is someone you just have a difficult relationship with, or maybe it's just a new one, a new relationship, and you want to do something kind, and you get that pushback that's like, well, what am I going to do that for? What if this? What if that? Like, they aren't deserving. Check yourself. Check yourself. And say, there have been plenty of times in my life that I wasn't deserving, and people showed me mercy. And I bet if you really think about it, you can find times in your life when people did something for you, and that kindness affected you. And hopefully that kindness changed your heart. So, next time you want to do something nice for someone, and you're able to do it, you should. Not for what it'll do for you, but for what it could do for them. Because right now, the world needs a whole lot of mercy and a whole lot of love. And they work hand in hand. So, that's my thing for today. Mercy. May we give it. May we give it in everything we do. So, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Awesome day. Be merciful. Be kind. Love each other. Oh, yeah. You know what? Never give up when you're always and forever. See you guys on the flip side.